Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will explain the major theories of the origin of the state, and how each theory tries to explain the transition from small human communities to organized political authority and sovereignty. The divine theory argues that the state emerged through divine will, and that political authority gained its legitimacy from religion. Historically, this idea was used to justify the authority of kings and rulers, but it is not the only explanation for the emergence of the modern state. The social contract theory says that the state resulted from an agreement among individuals. People surrendered part of their freedom in exchange for protection, security, and the organization of public life. Thinkers such as Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau developed different versions of this idea. The historical theory explains the state as the result of a long cumulative process. Political authority developed from simpler forms into more complex institutions, while the modern state emerged with centralized administration, defined borders, law, bureaucracy, and sovereignty. The social theory views the state as a product of social development itself. As populations grew, interests became more diverse, and societies needed security, conflict resolution, and resource management. Political institutions emerged to perform public functions and enforce common rules. The force theory explains the state through conquest, conflict, and domination. In this view, groups with greater military or political power were able to control other groups, and then created organized systems of government, taxation, and defense. The legal theory focuses on the state as a legal and sovereign entity. The modern state is associated with a defined territory, a permanent population, a government, the capacity to make and enforce laws, internal sovereignty, and relations with other states. Elite theory argues that states are often governed by organized minorities that possess resources, expertise, and decision-making power. From this perspective, political institutions do not necessarily mean that power is distributed equally among all members of society. Historical materialist theory connects the origin of the state to economic development, the means of production, and social class divisions. It argues that the state can become a mechanism for protecting the interests of dominant classes and maintaining the existing economic order. Functional theory focuses on what the state does. Maintaining security, organizing services, managing resources, applying rules, and creating stability. From this perspective, the state becomes more developed as these functions grow more complex and require specialized institutions. No single theory explains every historical case. Religion, social contracts, force, economics, and institutional development may interact. Comparing the theories therefore helps us understand state formation as a process with multiple causes rather than one universal cause. In conclusion, the state emerged through interconnected historical, social, political, and economic processes. Studying these theories helps us analyze authority, sovereignty, and institutions, and understand how political organization developed from ancient forms into the modern state.